And we are live officially. Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is the winter series. We're back again, continuing to bring you guys the full season. And tonight, something new, something that you guys may not have ever seen before. It's Symmons Plains on a V8 Supercar track down in Tasmania. So a little road course action, a short little road course, a pretty simple one, kind of. Once you see this layout, it's going to be something different. We'll get into that here in a moment. But first, despite the circumstances, I am very happy that after a good few years, one of the OG online co-commentators of mine is back. It's Blake Warren. Dude,
Hi
you have no idea how
everybody.
stoked I am for this.
I'm just as stoked for this myself, even considering the circumstances, and I am ready to see some carnage and great racing here at Symmons Plains.
Carnage may be pretty accurate. Yeah, we saw a bit of it last week, but tonight this is just such a different challenge. I ran out there and I ran a few laps on this track. Oh my goodness, it is like something to behold. It's short. Lap times are sub 1 minute, about 55 seconds typically. But it, I don't know how to describe it other than it starts off crazy and then it gets weird and then it gets normal and then the lap's done.
Yep.
So yeah, this will be something else. I think in order to go into a little more detail, thanks to Josh for editing this little tidbit together, but I think we should take a little tour of this place. So, on that note, take it away, myself. This week, we head way down under, a place called Symmons Plains Raceway in Australia, a 1.5-mile, 7-turn road course which plays host to the V8 Supercars every year and proves to be a short yet difficult layout, leaving no shortage of excitement. The first section will prove to be a challenge for these drivers pretty much right off the bat. Turns 1, 2, and 3, a difficult and tight bus stop chicane. Watch out for the big bump under braking on the way into the corner. Try to get the car turned through the middle of 2, get back on the gas and try to accelerate onto this long upcoming straightaway. We will end up getting up to about 140 miles an hour before hard braking into what is known as Bramble's Hairpin, the tightest turn on the entire schedule this season. Good luck getting these lumbering heavy stock cars through this corner. We then take a quick jaunt down through the back straightaway before we meet turns 6 and 7, a tighter version very similar to Monza's Parabolica section. Get the car under power, stay off the pit wall, and you will complete a lap around the seemingly simple yet notoriously treacherous Symmons Plains Raceway. Don't get too comfortable. It's only one lap. You've got a long way to go. With a tight layout, difficult corners, and a strong potential of the lap traffic to come into play, who will have the patience, finesse, and stamina to get to the front and manage to hold on to this victory? We'll find out in 1 hour's time. This is the Winter Truck Series. And you saw it there. This track is a very, very unique challenge, especially that first chicane with that massive, massive bump in it. Blake, I don't know if you got a chance to run any laps, but oh man, it's uh, it's a it's a weird one, that's for sure.
I actually did get to run not even a full lap because it was that difficult. Yeah, this is definitely a different racetrack than I've ever seen. And I even said this during practice. It was like, yeah, this is very much an Australian racetrack. This is a very narrow racing groove and everything like that. To certain points, it even kind of reminds me of the very famous Mount Panorama. Maybe a little bit less treacherous by comparison, but treacherous in regards especially to that hairpin turn. Oh my goodness. I mean, the banking definitely throws you off because you think that you can be able to run a lot faster there, but no, you have to brake, you have to turn, and you have to make sure that when you get back into the throttle, you don't spin out. Or, well, you don't really even have a lot of runoff for that matter if you miss the turn. So this is definitely a very interesting track. And it will be even more interesting, especially in this being a timed race, because hey, if you look at the practice laps and everything, the fastest lap was a 54.906 by Dunlaprad, and yeah, and that was also a qualifying run. So everyone is running under a minute on this racetrack. We have 60 minutes of racing plus a white flag. How exactly will that go? And also, with that jump at the end of the front straightaway, yeah, how are your brakes going to do by the end of it?
Yeah, that is a darn good question as we are getting ready to grid it up here. And I mean grid it up. Here's another one for you as we are getting ready to go here. Standing start. Yes, you heard that. A standing start tonight for this one. Um, Blake, I mean, a standing start going into that corner. Um, I don't know. How do you think that's going to go?
Ah, that is a wonderful question there, Andrew, because I genuinely do not know. I mean, we're starting side by side. It's a two-wide start to this event. Uh, I would say here's another thing to consider. You know how we kind of have an issue sometimes with tire spin on even just a green flag run or coming back to the start. They're at a dead stop. How cold are these tires going to be when they try to get going? Are we going to have someone do a burnout trying to get started in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, honestly, that might be the way to go. I'm not really sure. Um, I don't know. I think I've only ever done like a standing start. I've been racing in this for over 7 years. I may have done a standing start once, and that was on dirt. So, um, I don't know. We'll see how it's going to go down here. I also would love to mention the fact that thank you to Josh for putting together that little video and letting me do the voiceover for it. That was pretty cool. It was also kind of cool seeing my 47 out there. That was actually my truck that I raced in RTG for quite a while. But of course, I think I may have signed up for this at one point and then said, and then we decided, you know what, we'll broadcast it instead. And here we are, pretty much halfway through the season.
Yep.
And last race before the holiday break, we've got 2 weeks off for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And then after that, we pick it back up. I wanted to say at Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes we will. I'll be doing the commentary for the video for that one. So yes, we will be going to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the big brickyard. Certainly going to be interesting to see these trucks on there, and certainly going to be interesting to compete there as well. Curious as to how it will go, but that's 2 weeks away. We got time to figure that out. We got a race to run tonight in Australia.
Yeah. And yeah, that was that hairpin right there. Got to get it down to about 30 in order to get through there properly. You got to nail the braking zone. Everyone's braking zones are going to be different. Um, Boy, as I had alluded to, lap traffic is probably going to come into play here at some point. These camera angles are kind of neat. I say that, and then this one's a little odd. But yeah, we got Don Pratt on the pole, and then Josh Mercurio, Michael Norman, Cody Lamas, Allison Rodrigo's back, the number 5. Then Austin LaPlante is out here. Matt McIntyre, of course, and Seth Cole with the crazy bus. Ulysses Sandoval won on Sunday night. And Emmanuel Hartnett's there. Then you got the heavy hitters with Jack Merkel and Nick Gunther, the 2 rivals for the season. So here we go. Grid 'em up. In the words of the mighty Bob Dixon, grid up Gribbins. I was going to say, yeah, that's a reverse there for a couple of them. Hey, this
It's a
is new to
standing
these guys.
start.
We're going to start to rev them up here. Clock will start as soon as they roll. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's go, go, go. Had to pull my Murray Walker there. And a great start by Mercurial.
Here we go, off into turns 1 and 2.
LaPlante is off into the tires already. That is easy to do, I will admit. Ooh, and he's already sideways there. I should have probably asked Josh what the policy is going to be as far as cautions.
I kind of wondered that myself. Oh, Dunn almost got shucked.
Nearly hit by Llamas, who ends up getting spun by Norman, who's going to pull the gentleman's rule here, it looks like.
Yep.
And already slicing his way through the field is the 24 of Jack Merkel. He's got them side by side in front of him through this little kink. And coming into Parabolica, I guess you could call it.
Oh, I think the 738 may have hit the 5.
5 is off track. 24 gets them both. Not surprised. Road course ringer just like that up to 3rd place. But Donlon right on the back of the 11.
You know, the one thing that I was going to say is that, you know, while qualifying is definitely critical here, I did wonder, with how far back Jack and Nick, who are generally really good road course racers, I wondered, how hard is it going to be for them to be able to get up through the field? And they're not exactly having a difficult time. There's just a little bit of space enough between 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, Jack's definitely going to have to run his way back up there. Nick is looking to maybe get by Sandoval and McIntyre here then. Checking on through the rest of these drivers.
Boy's going to make a short move on the 96 of Sandoval as Matt McIntyre spins off into the sand. That's a question, too. How tough is it to get out of that sand versus the grass?
Oh, my gosh. The gravel and the sand.
Oh, Cody spins around right near the start and finish line. He's out of the way, thankfully.
That's an interesting spot.
Oh, boy.
But to what you were just saying, as Rodrigo's around.
Oh, boy. Yep, I feel much safer.
Oh, and there goes the 48 again.
Oh, this is a tough night for Cody.
Already. We're 4 laps in.
Oh, he's just losing it. I think he's overcooked the tires.
Second and third battle for the lead. LaPrade thought about it.
Oh,
and around goes the 11.
Dunn takes the lead. And it doesn't look like it was a contact, so Dunn is going to continue on. Dunn has now got the lead.
And that was Mercurial, I think, just getting under power. Holy cow. Yeah, there are 2 bits of information that I totally missed. And that is what constitutes a caution, if anything, and what the pit window is. I do know pit road speed is 35 miles per hour. That is for sure.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that it more has to do with how long your tires last. Fuel is a relative thing, but if you're burning up your tires, if you're beating the snot out of the car, like, that's going to be more important.
That honestly, I would agree with you there. Gosh, just watch them labor on through that hairpin. Boy, yeah, we'll watch Matt McIntyre try to get through here. And yeah, that's just the thing. It's banked, so imagine if it wasn't banked, you would have to go through there at like 20.
Well, and I'm more so looking at this like it's the jump. It's the jump that's in the front straightaway before you start going into the corners. If you fly up there and you're going too fast where you hit the brakes, it's just going to be like hitting ice. You're just going to slide forward.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was just watching Michael Norman there in the 22 go over that section there, and we got some side-by-side here. Hartnett looking to get by Ulysses Sandoval. That is for a top 5, and he will complete the move into the hairpin.
Hey, remember earlier when I said that Nick and Jack started way, way back in the field? Yeah, they're currently 2nd and 3rd. Doesn't matter where you start them, they apparently know how to get around a road course very well.
Yeah, they just started back there just to challenge themselves, that's all.
That's fair. The one thing I will say is that this track surprisingly has more left-hand turns than it does have right-hand turns, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily easy either way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I was trying to get my way through that chicane that we see Jack going through now, and it was brutal trying to get these things under the brakes, and yet some of these guys are able to hit the brakes after that bend or after the oh my gosh after the bump. So
Well, and here's something to keep in mind as well, just to kind of show the age of this game as well. In much more modern sims, and I think even in iRacing for that matter, you can adjust the brake bias. You are not able to do that in any capacity with a locked setup. You cannot adjust your brake bias mid-race. So you really have to be careful to make sure that when you put it on the brakes, you don't lock them up. You can
exactly.
certainly have anti-locks enabled, but the brake bias is key. Like, you need to make sure that's flat as the 738 spins around in the sand again, waiting for his opportunity to turn back around. He's going to back it up nice and safe, make sure he doesn't cause an incident, and everyone's going to get around him to the inside safely.
Checking on these lap times between first and second right now. Donlon Pratt is running very consistently in the mid 55s. His only issue, Jack Merkel ran half a second faster the last lap. So he's definitely closing. I mean, again, we kind of knew it was going to be the 24 and the 4 that were going to be the favorites, but the 74, I definitely think is going to be a factor throughout this thing.
I'm willing to say this, unless he messes up, which he's been pretty consistent, I could see a top 3 finish coming out for his way. He's running very, very well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
As the 11 spins around...
Oh, not again. Oh, that looks like he lost it on the bump. And he's still trying to get it under
spinning
power.
Around again. Oh, Emmanuel Ulysses almost hits him.
Gets it going here, stays out of McIntyre's way, and off he goes. Ugh.
You know, there was one other thing that I didn't even account for, and it's this. So, I would say by road course standards, this is more like a short track, both in terms of its overall length and just the amount of times that you're turning and cutting into corners and shifting and everything like that. Yeah. What happens if your gear breaks?
You better hope that it's not a gear that you need to rely on a ton.
And that's kind of the problem here. I'm looking at Jack right now. He is shifting through all 4 gears, so maybe the best bet is like you lose 3rd gear or something like that, but it's not going to be easy to get those revs back in terms of how the car matches it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if there is one gear that you could honestly maybe get away with losing here, albeit it would suck in that hairpin, it's probably first, albeit that's the gear that you're least likely to lose. But you gotta have 4th gear for this straightaway that we see them going down now. 3rd gear is ideal, especially for this short little straightaway between the chicane and the hairpin. And 2nd gear, you really need to rely on the most for acceleration, so I'm with you. I guess 3rd might be like the least problematic gear to lose, but I think otherwise you really hope that all 4 of them stay intact.
Yeah, the power band is going to be so drawn against you if you lose any of the gears in this case. Lose 4th gear, you're not going to be able to get that top end speed down that long straightaway. Lose 3rd gear, and when you're powering out of some of the tighter sections where you're in 2nd to manage it, it's just not going to have that power band to get into 4th. And the jump from 2nd to 4th is a very long one.
No doubt. Let's see, checking on through here. Then Rodrigo and Ulysses Sandoval close together there. Yeah, there's going to be a very high likelihood that we're going to be missing a lot of things that happen just because of the nature of this race. I will say Jack Merkel definitely overshot the hairpin that time. He was closing right in on the 74 and then just overshot it a little bit.
Oh, and as mentioned earlier, as mentioned earlier, there's not really a lot of runoff if you do miss that hairpin turn. God forbid your tires blow out or anything else happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's
a
like,
very short distance between the invisible wall and the top end of that corner.
yeah, there's a lot of invisible walls here because the runoffs are very, very large. We're checking on Michael Norman here. Kind of on his own little island right now, running P4. Doing a great job, though. No
Oh,
doubt.
and Matt McIntyre is going to go into the pits. He is currently only one lap down. Most likely just a tire stop. Maybe fuel. Hopefully not a retirement. 2
Hopefully
laps
not.
down.
He pulls it in there. It looks
Yep.
like he's just opting for the tires there. Looking back forward here. Battle for the lead. Merck will close it back in another half a second that time. Donald Pratt's doing, as you said, just a great job of keeping it consistent as Seth Cole
Oh,
is going for an adventure.
the Magic School Bus is taking a different route.
That's not a normal field trip, to
Uh,
quote
I was
Arnold.
going. I was going to say that right turn at Albuquerque did not lead you towards Albuquerque.
Is that a Weird Al reference, or am I being dumb?
Looney Tunes, actually.
Oh, yeah. I'm about as culturally inclined as someone who lives under a stone for like 20 years. It's just the truth. My movie knowledge is non-existent. Now
In
SpongeBob quotes. I got you on that one.
oh yeah, everyone knows and loves SpongeBob.
Everyone knows that licking doorknobs is illegal on other planets.
I will give you credit to this. Weird Al did write a song called Albuquerque, but no, I was not directly referencing that.
I remember that song was like absurdly long just for the sake of being absurdly long, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it's like an 11-minute song.
Oh my god. Ugh. Let's see. Taking a look at things here. We are 48, just a little under 48 minutes remaining here. Donald Pratt continues to lead this thing from Jack Merkel, but Jack's continuing to hunt him down. Nick's just kind of holding his own right now in third. Michael Norman holding his own way back and forth. And then go back to Ulysses Sandoval in P5. Yeah, he's kind of on an island himself. And Josh Mercurio trying to make up some ground. He's ahead of Hartnett at the moment, who I think also may have had some trouble as his last lap was over 1 minute 7 seconds.
I will say this. Now, I don't know if he's necessarily just holding pace or if he's actually gaining pace, but so Nick Gunther, he's currently sitting in third position, and he's 5.98 seconds from the leader as of the last lap. But he's also got a 24.29 gap. Well, not exactly that, but close enough. About 20 seconds between him and the 22 as the 48 or 84 is off in the sand, and that sand is sticky. He is buried deep in that.
Yeah, you gotta throw it into you gotta get it to neutral, rev the engine, throw it to first gear, and then that would get the tires spinning. You can't just try to rev it out of there. You actually have to, uh, yeah, you actually really got to get the power down on that. As Emmanuel Hartnett came down pit road and is now off. He
Josh
went 15
Mercurio
laps.
also came down. The quick point that I was trying to make was that even though that Nick is definitely having a little bit of struggles getting around this track, he's got such a gap between himself and fourth place that, okay, I mean, obviously you want to go and win, you don't want to lose a lot of points, but if this isn't necessarily the road course for you, it might be worth it to just hold steady and just get a good finish. Don't necessarily go for the win.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems like he's doing a very good job of just keeping it pointing in the right direction. Nothing crazy's going on. He's just maybe a step behind the top two as far as pace goes, but I think that's probably just him prioritizing, as you said, just keeping it on the racetrack, keeping it pointed in the right direction, and I'm with you. I think that if you're able to do that, you're going to be up for a good finish. I mean, pretty much everyone here in the top three has been mistake free. Michael Norman's still doing a good job, though, as I think he may have just come down pit road. But then, yeah, everyone else has certainly had their moments. But everyone's keeping it going, doing their best, and trying to get as many points and positions as they can. We are officially a quarter of the way through this thing. 17 coming to 18 laps in the books.
And the 84 is out with a piston failure.
Ooh, so that's an engine gone for the 84 there. Tough break
Very
there for us in
well.
the plant.
I was going to say, he very well may have overstressed the engine when he was trying to get out of the sand trap.
That can happen, as they're catching up to the 96. Yeah, now it's just a matter of seeing how far these top two... Oh, goodness, this 24 is kicking that back end out on the hairpin. Getting the power down. Oh, something's wrong.
Something's wrong with who?
Jack Merkel, I feel, may have just lost a gear. Because he really labored there for a moment.
I'm going to go on board and I will let you know.
It's always hard to tell because the gears that are shown in the game aren't always accurate. Let's see. Let's see if he kind of double shifts it through here in a moment. Because typically the way that you got to be able to tell when you're online is kind of how the car reacts when they're shifting. Seems pretty normal.
I was going to say, based off of what I'm hearing, I think that he does have all four gears, but I do think that he may have scrubbed the tires a little bit too much. Because when we saw that he kicked out a little bit, when he lost a little bit of rear traction, I think that he just took the corner kind of awkwardly, maybe overcooked it going into the entry.
I don't know. It's hard to tell because it looked like he was laboring a good bit out of that hairpin as he's gonna bring it
he's coming
on
into
the
the
pit road,
pits.
get some tires.
Now the question that I have is this: how much of a lead can Dunn now get, considering that the 24 is in the pits, and yeah, the 4 is going up through the S's right now.
Let's see. I think Nick. Don't think he's pitted yet. See if he's coming into that hairpin now. We'll see if Donlon Pride responds.
Oh, Ulysses had a big brake lockup and hit like the front edge of his truck at the end of the steel girder.
Oh.
It didn't exactly stop him, but it like slowed his momentum down even more.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised that that's going to be a corner that's going to be easy to overshoot.
And the 74 comes in.
He is going to respond here and bring it down pit road. I'm still going to... Yeah, that looks fine. I'm perplexed as to whatever happened with the 24. Maybe I'm with you. Maybe he just kicked the back end out and...
Oh, the 4 loses it! He's in the sand! He's in the sand! He took the lead and he's in the sand!
And he's out!
He's out of the race! What a turn of events! I thought he was... Oh, no! Oh, no! Wasn't he the points leader coming into the race?
He was.
Oh, boy, that is not what he needed to have happen.
Now, here's the good news. This series does have a chase. So it's not like it was overly critical for him anyway. Golly, that just seems so bizarre that he would just quit. Because he just barely tapped the wall, and I mean, yeah, he lost it, but man, that's just bizarre to me. But hey, I mean, I guess if he figured like, well, there goes my shot at the win. I got nothing to really race for at this point. I guess maybe that was the mentality.
I mean, I think the mentality was that he could be able to bleed so much additional time off of Dunn trying to catch up to him. I guess so long as the tires held up. But yeah. Once you get stuck in that sand, I would not blame him one bit if he just gave his hands up and gave up. That is a very unfortunate situation, and it sucks that that happened to him. I don't know how many points he would have necessarily gained out of this, but it definitely would have helped because, to be completely honest, there's not many people that I know of, at least, that are road course aficionados.
Yeah, he's definitely one, and yeah, he's solid pretty much anywhere that he goes, and yeah, that's a bummer to see. But again, I mean, it was in the treacherous first chicane where that bump was, and then the back end just came around and around it went. And again, I'll just be honest that if there is definitely a place on this track that is going to catch out the best of the best, it's that bump, and it caught him out. It's entirely possible that it could catch out others. It's caught out many others already, as the Monster Energy truck is about to pass the Monster Energy truck.
They are not teammates, by the way.
No, they are not, because one's a Chevy, one's a Toyota.
Yep.
And Dunn has definitely gained a lot with that round of pit stops there. So it's good to know that they could probably go about 20 laps ish on a tank. And the gap currently between the top two, 3.8 seconds last time by at the stripe. Ulysses Sandoval has now been uh, upgraded to the podium position as it runs currently. He is 47 seconds off of second place.
This is very much going to be a Dale Jarrett like Ned Jarrett. I'm
Ooh,
sorry, a very Ned Jarrett like experience where, if I remember right, I think Ned Jarrett once won a race 11 laps over the rest of the entire field.
that may have, yeah. I think that isn't that like the largest margin of victory ever?
I'm off to the archives.
And while you look at the archives, I'm gonna get the official word from Nick Gunther here in chat. He had lost second gear and then beached it, so decided to park it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go find the nearest Australian beach to relax. Hey, you're gonna find some beauties there, so I don't blame you. I might join you afterward. It is summer in Australia right now,
It is indeed. It very much is indeed.
and that sounds quite lovely at the moment. I am not a winter person, not by any stretch.
Even if you're born in winter, you still don't acclimate well to it.
And that's the thing, I was born in August, so yeah, I
I'm a
don't
late winter
acclimate at
baby,
all.
but I still don't enjoy it.
So our third place has now been given to Michael Norman, and he's about to go a lap down. So can you say that Dunlop Pratt is doing pretty darn good at this road course?
I I gotta be honest, he's doing even better than I expected.
I
Now,
mean, we know that Dunn is good, but I will admit he has really surprised me here that he has been able to take the fight. Not only take the fight to Jack and Nick, he's kind of kicking their butts.
I mean, looking at it, Nick's situation definitely was unenviable and was definitely going to be a challenge even for him, which, you know what, I think that does explain as to why he was like on pace, but not exactly on his pace, is what typical to seeing because
Yeah,
of that gear
yeah.
braking. So,
I'm still
um,
suspicious that the 24 does not have all of his gears because his lap times have really fallen off.
I'd also kind of chalk that up to probably some of the lap traffic and limited movement that you can do around this race course, but either Dunn has got this number or Jack is just making micro mistakes on some of these corners. Like, he's consistent enough that he's not losing much distance, but it's just a hair amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's going to get by Sandoval there without issue. I think Sandoval may have come back down pit road. There's our third place runner, Michael Norman. Again, another driver that seems to have been relatively mistake free. I mean, of course, as we said, it's kind of hard to see everything going on, but at the end of the day, I mean, any issue that he has had has not cost him that much, and currently running a solid P3. And fourth place is Joshua Mercurio, and Mercurio is a good few seconds behind him yet. Although the battle could be on for 5th place here if Emmanuel Hartnett's able to close in on the 11.
Just to give a little bit of perspective, I do want to read this stat. Oh, 738 is off into the grass again. Thankfully not stuck this time.
Nope.
This is what I wanted to point out. So I'm looking at the fastest lap at the moment. The 24, 54.940. Dunlop Prad's fastest lap, 55.389.
And
so,
he just did that lap, like just now, actually.
Yeah. So looking at it, my analysis would be that Jack has definitely got something that is working for him. It's just not adding up entirely to like cut down whole entire seconds. It's micro measurements that he's getting. And it just kind of seems like it's not exactly consistent every single lap, where it's like turn 5 as an example. This is where he's excelling at. But in place, maybe turn 3 is where he's making the mistake, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, everyone kind of has
their... the 5 hit
Whoa.
a pit wall. He went into the pits, he hit a pit wall.
He's hit these solid metal cones that were sitting there. Wee. He was running 6th. Wants to bring it down pit road. Josh McCurry is going to get by Sandoval there.
That was a beautiful move.
And now, yeah, as I was saying with Jack Markle, his lap time's falling off. Well, they've gained right back up again. And yeah, now he's running consistent 55.3s and gained 0.6 that time. So
as 22 lets the 24 by, and now there is no physical car separating the 24 and the 74 at this moment.
At this moment, yeah, Seth Cole is a little ways up the road at the moment, coming off of the second, with the final corner there. 33 minutes to go here. 55.7 for Dunn that time by. 55.6 for Jack. So I think that we keep saying like, oh yeah, like one person's making mistakes or one person's really excelling. I just think that these guys they just know what they're doing, and they're just so evenly matched that it's pretty much a dogfight at this point. It's just a matter of if Jack can try to get back up there, maybe opt for a slightly different pit strategy, and that could maybe get him up there a little closer. But
well, the one thing that I will say is this track kind of reminds me of like a little bit of a mix between, like, to an element, Laguna Seca, a little bit of Riverside, and also weirdly like a little bit of like Trenton, New Jersey, the kidney bean shaped track.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see that as we got quite a.
I thought that Seth was just about to spin out right in front of Dunn.
Oh. Josh Mercurio had a bit of a time getting past Matt McIntyre there, but is they going to be able to do so? Sandoval's there as well. So a little cluster of cars there. The school bus getting through the hairpin there. Jack Merkel overshoots it and does a burnout getting back under power. Golly, I cannot tell you how.
Tires too bad.
I cannot tell you how easy that is to do, overshooting that corner.
Oh yeah, because the banking doesn't exactly save you.
I feel like it does nothing from what I was feeling. 30 laps in. Seth lets Jack by there.
Remember when I said earlier in the broadcast that we have 60 minutes, but potentially 60 laps? Yeah, they're on lap 32 with 31 minutes and counting to go. We're definitely going to get past 60. Like, they are running lap times that are faster than a minute, so I could see this race probably stretching out to 64 or 65 laps.
Yeah, if we continue green, I think it's going to be pretty accurate. As spinner in the Parabolica, that's what I'm going to call it. Emmanuel Hartnett went around. No one around him.
He goes again.
That's another thing, yeah. Once you get those rear tires hot from spinning out, you got to be careful getting back on the power, as he's wisely just going to kind of wait for these guys to go past. Norman, Seth. And he should have a gap there, and he will get back underway.
And as I kind of figured, Emmanuel is going to make a pit stop after that loop-de-loop and pole.
And your shoes are looking cool. See, I told you about SpongeBob references. I get them. I know what's up.
So the distance between Jack and Dunn has definitely extended a little bit. Though you did mention earlier how Jack had went off the exit of the tight hairpin there a little bit ago. Yeah, I'm gonna follow Jack for a little bit, and I'm gonna see where he is exactly getting it right and where he's making little mistakes, if I can.
If you can, yeah. Dunn just seems to have him on the consistency level. Jack, I think, may have like that little bit more speed. I keep kind of going back and forth on kind of what I'm seeing, and that's just because, again, I mean, these guys are in such a different league with this track, and they know how to be able to get it through there without making major errors. Any error that Jack or Dunn have made have been incredibly minute, and so it allows them to kind of keep it going as they are.
I think that, and I don't know exactly how enforced the track limits are, and it's not egregious by any means. I want to make that abundantly clear. Jack is definitely on the attack to be able to get positioning and everything, so he is arcing the corners a little bit tighter to the white line, but I think that's where he's messing up. Like, he's taking it shallower and certainly taking it a little bit slower, but he's also sliding more. He's taking that sharp entry into the turn to be able to get through it and kind of cut down on the distance he has to travel. But in the consequence, when he comes out of the turn, the truck looks like it's sliding. It's not as stable. And when it comes down to power, the rear tires are just spinning more. So he doesn't have that grip to throttle it down into the next turn or into the next section. And I think that Dunn is just taking things slower and smoother.
I could see that because, I mean, Jack just ran a 57, and that's unusually slow. And yet, we pretty much watched him that whole lap, and I didn't really visibly, I didn't see anything all that egregious or any mistakes or anything. So I'm with you. I just think that maybe how he's going about it, he just doesn't quite have the consistency level that Dunn has. As here comes Jack in for the pit stop. Probably, maybe a part of that, yeah, he's just sliding his tires a lot, and now he's gonna try to fix that.
Michael Norman has spun
Norman.
on the front stretch.
Oh boy.
Be careful, Michael.
He's trying to get it back going because he's trying to hold on to this podium.
Yep. And that podium has now been inherited by the 11.
11 of Josh Mercurio, back up to third now after that error there from the
And
22.
738 has gone off into the grass once more and does a
22
nice
is
big
off
loop
again,
around.
and I think he just called it a day.
Yep, 22 has now left the race. Maybe the 738 is going to join him.
He's going to go join
the
Nick.
Racetrack.
He's going to go join Nick on that beach.
I don't know what the alcohol tastes like in Australia, but I would certainly say if you have a taste for it, probably tastes better than what's here in the States.
You get yourself something fancy. As Dunn the Pratt is responding once again to that pit stop by Jack Merkel. He has brought it down pit road himself here. The gap was, I think, it was probably in the realm of about 6 seconds. Prior to that round began, as, oh goodness, Sandoval, I think, went on the grass trying to let some cars by. And Dunn is back out on course.
Now, I know that this is not up to date at the moment just because we haven't done the next lap, but currently it has on my screen Dunn is leading by 29.24 seconds. Now that is obviously going to change once we get the next loop data, but yeah, it's been a Dunn and Merkel show, definitely.
Oh yeah, and Nick was definitely he was definitely the next best driver. As, oh goodness, that's a gaggle up in front of Dunn here.
Oh, Seth just went off into the grass.
Sandoval kicking the back end out there a little bit. Mercurio maybe looking to try to cleanly get past this 96 into the dangerous 1, 2, and 3 there. And Ulysses will allow that move to take place.
Ooh.
Keeps it down there to let Dunn pass, and will do so. Dunn is now going to do the same for the 11.
11 goes wide. He gives him the room to the inside. 74 gets around him safe and clean. No issue.
And the official gap, which should now be up to date, 6.6 between these top two.
Yep. And I gotta be honest with you. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, and I'm not trying to discredit Jack at all. But this is definitely going to be a very insurmountable gap to make up. Like, I don't exactly know how long a pit stop is going to take, but assuming this, let's say that Dunn needs to pit again, and he's actually been able to extend his tires out just a tiny bit longer. I would say that Jack is probably not too far behind him in the pits. To me, it feels like, especially with only 24 minutes left in this race, like, if they make it to another pit stop, I think Dunn has got his number. Like, I think he can make up that distance, even if Jack takes the lead again.
Yeah, I mean, Jack is going to really have to hammer down here, but that's the thing. I think what's killing him is that while he's able to gain in the short run, it's the long run, because he's using up his stuff that Dunn is pulling away. I mean, the gap did go down by another half second there. But I think at this point in time, and the fact that it seems like they should be able to safely make one more pit stop and not really have to worry about fuel or tires all that much, I think Jack's just got to keep it consistent and maybe hope for a little bit of luck, and then maybe he'll have a chance. But right now, I think that he's just trying to make sure, and if I were him, at least in this predicament, just keep pointing in the right direction and keep the second place intact. I mean, good grief, you got a lap on third place, and you're about to. Well, he doesn't have a lap on third place quite yet, but he's about to.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this too, like, we still have a white flag lap, but I would almost just kind of pace it out, essentially run less laps because it's a timed race rather than get to as many laps as you can under an hour. The leader could hypothetically back off on the throttle, saving even like maybe 30 seconds or so. Maybe a little bit too dramatic there, but you get what I mean. Slow the pace down by a little bit so that you get the white flag sooner, if that makes sense.
That is, honestly, that is the biggest brain thing I've ever heard. I have never thought of that. But that is true. Yeah, you can like really play it safe and make it so that you end up running less laps and don't have to worry about it.
I mean,
That's a true point.
and let's look at it this way too. Gas is more of a finite lap per lap type of thing versus tires. Tires are a little bit more variable. Gas is kind of more of a fixed rate, especially in the CTS physics. Sure, you can modulate it a little bit by, putting the clutch in and changing your braking points and everything else like that, letting the car coast, but at the exact same time, yeah, you could easily slow the pace down without losing too much ground to the other drivers. But in the end, you would end up running less laps, running less of that fixed component, and you would still be able to finish the race in 60 minutes, obviously, plus the white flag.
As off goes the 5. But no, yeah, I never really thought of it that way, but when you say it, it's like that makes perfect sense. Uh-oh. Sandoval. Boy, that was an interesting spin there, as he's still trying to get under power. I'm going to get a replay of that here real quick, because that was interesting.
Wow.
Oh, did he lock it up trying to avoid the 11? That's what it looks like here. Oh, yeah, he just outbraked it, and wow.
I think what would have been amazing is if he had, like, slid backwards into the corner and then just, like, reverse forwarded through the second half.
Like he did at Maverick at Sonoma. 20 minutes remaining here in this race. It has been done LaPrade from flag to flag here pretty much. Jack Merkel, though, has been his closest competitor, though, and has been pretty much right on him as far as pace goes. Still, though, just running a bit behind, currently about 6 seconds. I will just take this opportunity to send a couple quick shout outs, though, because, like I've said, though, I mean, Blaine Donlon has helped a ton as far as kind of getting me out there and helping with some stuff, setting some stuff up. Of course, the background footage that you see, that was all his doing. Oh, Jack! I thought he was about to spin it. But, yeah, huge props to Blaine Donlon of TarnationTV. Definitely go check them out. And, of course, to Seth for helping with the graphics. Joe Troyansky has also been monumental. And I do have to definitely give some props to my my cohort here in the booth, Mr. Blake Warren. Blake, you have given a lot of insight that has been able to help me out too, and probably going forward here as well. So I'm looking forward to maybe seeing what we can try to work out here. So to anyone watching this, go subscribe to Charlie Fibrosis there on YouTube. He is in the chat there. You see it from earlier, and yeah, give him the subscription. This guy's definitely earned it.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Hey, it's the least I can do for everything that you've been willing to help me with, and everything else that you've done, and some past paint schemes that you've painted for me over the years too.
I have to laugh a little bit. I don't know if one of my paint schemes has ended up in Victory Lane. Like, for you at least.
Oh, what mod was it running? I do know that when I was running Fuel, when they were running Winston 98 CTS, I definitely had some good runs in that Powerade 47 that he did for me.
I don't know that I still have the file for it, but I think I do have a picture of it somewhere on my computer.
I'll definitely have it on my hard drive, for sure. Looking on through things here. Mr. Consistency is keeping it up. And Jack Merkel, yeah, those tires I think might be starting to go. I think you got to go about another few minutes or another few laps here, and then you should be safe on that one final pit stop. 17 minutes and a half remaining here as it stands.
I think the thing that is definitely surprising to me is as I'm looking at the 74, like deep in the background, I can see the 24 scheme flash up, and my brain is just thinking, he's gonna be there, he's gonna catch up, but the numbers don't lie, sadly enough. Like, the distance is still pretty large, and Dunn is just still that consistent at the moment.
Yeah, keeping it in the upper 55s at the moment. This time by... Yeah, Jack was a little quicker by about 4/10. So such a seesaw. But Dunn has just had the consistency game. Jack has had the lap speed, but it just hasn't been continuous, as we've been talking about here. I feel like we've been racking on him a bunch. I mean, good lord, this guy's won 3 races this season?
If I remember right, yes?
And you may have to pull up the stats on this one, but I'm pretty sure that he is still the only multi-time winner.
I'm going to get an answer for you that right now. Who won South Boston last week? The page is not updated.
Oh. Who won South Boston? It was... I think it was Jack.
Okay, then that would make Jack a 3-time winner on the season.
Yeah, I knew I had the number 3 in my head.
Yeah, he's won... he won at Atlanta, Milwaukee, and South Boston. Yeah, I think he did win last week.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yep. He was able to win that a chaotic race. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, that last lap they were almost identical. So 48 laps complete here. 15 minutes remaining. He's catching the 11 again here. Yeah, Josh Mercurio. We got to throw out the fact that with everything that's been going on with the 4 and then the 22 bowing out, I swear, third place is not where you want to be. It seems almost cursed in a way. But Josh is making it work at the moment.
Well, and Josh could have 2 pit stops in a row, or have a mistake on a pit stop, and he still would be holding on to third place. The distance between third and fourth is 1 lap down versus 3 laps down.
Are you kidding? Oh my gosh, you're right.
Josh has all the time. Now, he is going to go 2 laps down here in a minute, but the rest of the field is also eventually going to go another lap down. Josh has got all the time in the world that he wants to waste if he really wants to, and he still would have a firm grip onto that third place position. Nobody else is the same distance that he is down.
And I will say that this is a driver that I think it's only a matter of time before he gets one of these W's, because he's been pretty consistent as far as his finishes go. He's consistently pretty quick. He just hasn't quite had that extra bit of luck to go his way.
Well, and I'll certainly say this. So looking at the whole season, we had Anthony McCurry win Daytona. We had Jack win 2 races in a row. We had Emmanuel win Charlotte. We had Cody win Daytona. Nick won Chicagoland, and then Jack wins again at South Boston. Like, you definitely have that cream of the crop type driver and everything. And I will say this, for the sake of Emmanuel, that race was green flag from flag to flag. There was no cautions in that event. So definitely a bit of an outlier. And now the 74 is going into the pits.
24 pitted a lap earlier. So this is the money stop. Final stop here. Just keep it under that 35. And keep it a clean stop. And then just hope that everything is all clean for you when you come on.
Oh, the school bus has crashed. The school bus has crashed and has been towed back to the pits.
Oh, no. What has happened to those poor children on there? Which I'm pretty sure includes you.
They got turned into a shish kebab.
Oh, he's going to impale it here, isn't he? Oh, he overshoots it. Oh, good. Oh, that's painful. Well, Blake, it looks like you may have gotten some whiplash out of that.
Don't I know it?
Coming back to the live shot here, Dunlop Pratt is off of pit road. 12 and a quarter seconds. 12 and a quarter minutes remaining here. Jack Merkel is off pit road. Made his stop a bit earlier. That gap, if I had to take a guess, looks like it is going to be just about the same here as we are 50 laps in.
That's right. I forgot that the opening lap was a collection lap, uncounted.
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, I guess whenever I do say the laps that have been completed, I guess I do include that one.
Oh no! Oh, the 74 almost lost it and he caught it.
Oh, that could have been a catastrophe. Gap is 5.5 seconds.
Done. Yeah, I was gonna say done. You've got 5.5 seconds. You've got plenty of time.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that for ourselves here. I was not on the live shot there. Let's see. Go back a little further. Over the bump. Through the corner. And getting on the power. Yeah, he slid it pretty good there. That was just enough that it'll make you nervous.
The weight shift was enough to upset the truck, but not enough to send it around.
And he's going, oh, okay. Enough of that. Still ran at 55.6.
Make sure the pants are clean.
Yeah. End of a second gain there. Jack did gain a bit on the round of pit stops. Gap is 5.3, but yeah, he's for 10 minutes remaining here. He's definitely got his work cut out for him. But I will say this though. I mean, as much as we keep saying like, yeah, he could maybe gain here, gain there. Um, ultimately, just when you look at the race itself, yeah, Nick Gunther retire, you had Michael Norman retire, and those were two pretty speedy guys, but they didn't quite have anything for these top two. These top two have remained no more than 7 seconds apart from each other, and third place is going to be 2 laps down in relation to them.
And that is something that I will applaud both, well, really all the drivers actually. Number one, unless you had a mechanical failure or something egregious happened, these people have stuck it out. The 78 is the last running car, like, furthest distance behind, and he's 78, he is 7 laps down, not 78 laps down. He is 7 laps down, but
That
he
would be
still is
impressive.
running because there's positions to still be gained. A truck could go and break a gear or just completely get abandoned in the sand, or anything else could happen. There still is position to be gained, not a lot, but there still is something to be gathered from this. And more than anything, I will say this too, credit to Jack. Jack has not lost enough ground that he was at a threat of being put down a lap. Nothing to go against Mercurio by any means, but looking at the spread of it, it's just them two on the lead lap, and he has not fallen a lap down once in this event.
And just to prove that, he just ran the fastest lap of the race. 54.896, and gained a decent margin there. So he's given it everything that he's got for this final gasp, these final 8.5 minutes. And he's laying the hammer down. The gap that time, I'm sure, is going to be under 5. Yeah, 4.8. So it's not over.
It's
By
not
any
over.
stretch. And done as consistent as he's been, he's just got to keep that. He's got to keep that trend going.
And that's kind of what I'm wondering, is Dunn gotten a little bit less consistent on this final run?
Yeah, is the pressure
is
going
now
to get
he
to him?
making the minor mistakes?
Well, I mean, a 55.4, that's only a tenth off of his personal best. And then Jack just ran half a second slower, so I don't think Dunn's phased one bit.
Nah. We're not TNT. We don't exactly know the drama.
No. The most dramatic moment that Dunlaprat has had this entire race was that little slide that you mentioned. And compared to other things that we've seen on track here, that was barely a blip on the radar. It was only something because it was Dunn that did it. Because he's just been like so on rails, so consistent.
Oh,
Uh-oh,
738.
that's one risk that could come into it. So not going to cost him that much. 55.7 to a 55.6. 7 minutes remaining, and it's been a good time. Thank you to everyone that has been tuning into this one. Of course, tune back here in 3 weeks' time for Indianapolis for the Winter Series, and tune back here on Sunday evening for Talladega Nights, run by Jeffrey Elliott. We're bringing you guys some action there from. Or no, I keep calling it Talladega Nights. It's the Primetime Racing League. Good grief! I really need to stop doing that. It's always been Talladega Nights in my heart. It's Jeffrey Elliott's series, and they're going to be bringing some awesome action. And that league gets some car counts, so that may be one of the biggest car count streams that we have ever done on the channel. I'm looking forward to doing that one.
Now, I
Come
do
this
have
Sunday
to
evening.
ask. I do have to ask because I'm sure that the viewers are probably wondering this themselves. So, is Talladega Nights still going on, or is this a rebrand?
It's basically a rebrand that they did, but it's still the same group of guys. I mean, for the most part, nothing's really changed about it aside from the name. So
Okay.
that's, oh my goodness. Big Jack Burkle's laying it down, and I just saw some fair amount of tire smoke there. Ugh. 5.5 minutes, and he's still putting down some good laps. Just gotta keep it consistent. But
Oh, that
at
was
5
it.
seconds.
He tucked it tight in the hairpin, hit a bump, and then it wasn't a thing necessarily of gunning it too hard. It was that the truck was unbalanced, and then when the power came down, smoked up.
And then just lost 2/10 there.
Yeah.
Final 5 minutes here. Caution-free race. And everyone pretty spread out at the moment. Well, actually, nope, I stand corrected. Alison Rodrigo just got by a 4th place there on Austin LaPlante. So
738 just came into the pit, so the 78 might actually gain position here, go from 8th to 7th.
And that is points.
There's points. 738 is still in the pits. Seth does take the position.
And Seth, that front end is looking a little unhappy there. After we watch that thing get munched on the guardrail. There's Josh Mercurio. Our guy in P3, head admin, putting on this whole deal. And, shall I also mention, reigning champion of the series. I know that he'll probably be making the postseason here, so we'll see if he's going to have anything for guys like Merkel, like Gunther. Just checking back up among these top 2. That gap remaining pretty stable. And the 738 is without a hood.
He's turned into a modified.
We're going modified racing here in Tasmania.
I'm going to squeal with excitement if my lap count is like right on the dot. I was thinking 74, 75. We are so close to getting that.
You said 74, 75? I think we're going to be a little short of that. We're on 61 now. Yeah, I think we're going to probably get to about lap 66. It's going to be my guess.
All right.
56-0, 55-8. Just deadlock between these two. Seth Cole in front of Dunn here. That Monster Energy, number 74. Don LaPrade going to add his name, as long as things continue in this direction, to the win list this season. And it has been a pretty darn competitive season. As we said, Jack Merkel with 3 wins. Oh, goodness. It's Emmanuel Hartnett kicking up a lot of dirt.
We're not at DeCoin.
We're not... DeCoin?
DeCoin Raceway.
Is that actually how it's pronounced?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to sound like a heathen when I say how I actually thought it was pronounced.
DeQuoin?
For some reason, my brain said DeQuan. Don't ask me why.
If racetracks were in the KMPO sketch instead.
Jaqueline Raceway. Reigning track champ is AA Ron. Poor guy. Where I work, my lead supervisor, his name is Aaron, and all the time we just go up to him and go, "Hey, AA Ron," and he takes it in stride. He finds it pretty funny.
Minute and a half to go and counting. Minute and a half as when Dunn crosses start and finish line.
Starting the 63rd lap of this race. And yeah, Hartnett did lose P5 from that. That promotes Sandoval to that position. Well, those rear tires are not happy on any of those trucks. Little skirt there from Dunn LaPrade. Yes, I just said that out loud. Sue me. This is what happens when you have a caution-free race like this for an hour. You start saying silly things.
Coming around the corner. 35 seconds remaining. 33.
So that will be 2 laps to go here. As looks like Sandoval, he just pit. I think he did.
Yep.
That's interesting. We'll see what that might do as far as the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Into the hairpin. We are 10 seconds. And the clock winding down to 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there it is. Donlon will come around to take the white flag, this time by the gap at 6 seconds between him and Jack Merkel. These two have been the class of the field. A couple guys were pretty close there, but ultimately had issues. And to start the 65th lap, I was pretty close. And it will be at the completion of this lap. Donlon will make it official. Josh Mercurio still pretty much on his own, looking to take home the podium. As the battle continues, rage on a little further back there, but Hartnett goes off track. It's looking like Alcin Rodrigo will be getting 4th place ahead of Ulysses Sandoval, who will take P5 as it stands. But can you say domination on this Monster Energy number 74? Donlon, after a while of not seeing him racing much, it is great to see him being competitive and taking a checkered flag here, and it will come down under here at Symmons Plains Raceway. Give it to Donlon officially.
I bet that man is so happy and so tired after running an hour here.
You are not kidding. Jack Merkel will emerge second. Final gap. Don't know because he retired.
Now, here's what I was wondering. Is he going to do the burnout here? Nope.
A little bit.
He does give a little bit of a smoke show.
Oh, yeah, he's kicking it out there.
Gives a little wibble wobble.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Give them kangaroos a good show. I'm sorry, I had to say it.
I lost him in the camera.
Yeah, he went to TV1 there. He's spinning through the sand.
All the composure that it took to hold it down those straightaways, and here we go. He gets to celebrate them.
Oh, well deserved for sure. Oh, that was beautiful right there.
That was lovely.
Oh, that was so satisfying. Holy cow. That may have been one of the most satisfying sequences for a burnout I've ever seen. And then he put it on the tires.
That wasn't the most satisfying part, but yeah, there we go. Burn it down, burn it down.
Well earned on a track like this. Absolute brute of a racetrack, despite how simple it seems. Boy, you think that he was looking forward to doing something like this again?
To this level, to this early, I don't even think he was prepared for it. Great win to Donlon.
Burnout of the century. Holy cow, that was just style-wise, that was cool. Great job there for Donlon and Jack Merkel, both incredible drives. Going to emerge with 1st and 2nd. Josh Mercurio, of course, was 3rd, albeit a lap down. And how crazy is that? And then we had Alcin Rodrigo, Sandoval, Hartnett. Seth Cole did get ahead of Matt McIntyre, as you were saying. And then out of the race was Michael Norman, Nick Gunther, Austin LaPlante. Cody Lamas also out pretty early on. 12 drivers took the start, and it is Donlon that is able to get it done at the end of the day. But man, that was cool. This is a neat track. I honestly am a little jealous that I didn't get to run on it myself. Or maybe I would have binned it. That probably would have happened.
I was going to say I probably would have started 13th, finished 13th, or potentially finished 14th. Like, probably lap 2 exit.
Or you would have pulled the Seth Cole finishing 78 laps down in the 67 lap race.
There you go.
All right, let's see. Do I have permissions to do that? No, I don't. So, Blake, could you, oh shoot. Well, that's it. Oh,
Uh,
Blake, could you do me a favor and go ask Michael Norman if he can assist in moving these drivers up here for interviews?
yes, I can. Give me just 1 minute.
Not a problem. Yep, we'll get a word with, of course, our at least first and third finishers. Possibly, actually, no, I think Jack Merkel may have jumped out.
All right. Well,
So we'll at least talk to Josh and Dunn.
there we go.
In the meantime, though, we'll go ahead and take a look at the rest of this schedule that we've got coming up because, boy, do we got some good challenges here. We got Indianapolis, and if I'm not mistaken, I think after that is Joltis.
I will double check the schedule and I will clarify that.
I've actually got it pulled up myself here.
Okay. Then,
And
yeah,
if you,
well, IMS and then Zenjoltis and then the chase
and
starts.
then the chase. And if I'm seeing
moved
to your
correctly
channel.
here, you are Anonymous
User
Duck
was moved to your
on
channel.
here. As we've got our first and third place finishers here, we'll go ahead and start with driver number 11. Josh, you got me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right on, man. It's a third place finish for you. Of course, despite some early trouble, you were able to recover, take advantage of some other things, and emerge with a great points finish and a P3 finish. But golly, did that track seem treacherous?
Yeah, it was. It was definitely tough today. Give me 1 second. I'm just figuring out the standings here.
Yeah, you're good, my man. Yeah, we caught you at an interesting time there. But yeah, kind of while you're doing that, I'll take a look at the rest of the schedule here. So the rest of the schedule, to everyone watching, we'll be back here on January 7th for Indianapolis, followed by Zenjoltis on the 14th, and then, as I said, the chase begins. And this is quite a cool little 5 race chase that we got going on here. It goes Ace Speedway, Homestead, Coca-Cola, fictional track racing, then Myrtle Beach, and then we wrap up the season February 25th at Las Vegas. That is about as neat of a chase schedule as I have ever seen.
Well, I appreciate your your compliments on my creativity.
You did way better than me, man.
We started out west, we're finishing out west.
Yep.
That's true, yeah. But now I guess I'll just ask you. Keeping that thing pointing in a straight line, especially through that chicane, just seemed absolutely brutal. Obviously, when I did the voiceover, I didn't even know what the track looked like. I'd never even seen it. I was just kind of going off of what I was reading. But man, once I turned some laps and I was seeing you guys going out there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a challenge, and it was neat to see. But I don't know how did it feel to have to kind of go through that for over 60 laps.
It was definitely a challenge. The bump in turn one is uh, a real roadblock. You catch some air, you lock the tires up if you brake before it. So your options are to either slow down before or like really toss it in there and give it all you got, and that's what gets you to swap ends there in that first couple quarters. And then the other thing that was going on today was the brake bias had been moved back since the original testing, and so that accompanied with all of that sliding around meant the rear tires were just getting pounded, and so the whole field was struggling with keeping keeping the rear end behind them. So definitely a really tough track. I'm proud of all the guys that finished today, no matter how many laps down they were. Yeah, I mean the other thing was just Dunn and Jack. Even if they were dealing with the same problems we were, they know how to keep the car pointed in the right direction, and so that's what gives you the lap disadvantage that I was at the end of the race.
Yeah, they were just running away with that whole thing. and props to them. Blake, do you have anything to ask Josh here?
No, I'm honestly blown away that you did as well as you could, because that racetrack was definitely a challenge, and I'm even more surprised that nobody really got into anyone. Like, it was a very clean race, all things considered. So all I can simply say is, Josh, is the schedule master, you definitely picked an interesting one, and I think that it worked out for the best.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my goal. You just pick out the tracks that I like the best from the time that I've spent on this game, and maybe throw in some tracks nobody's ever heard of, like this one. Um, we all like running Sonoma and Watkins Glen, but it's cool to throw something in that we've never done before.
I'm a bit jealous that I didn't get to run it, but also at the same time not, because I feel like I would have binned it at some point, like I was telling Blake. But man, great finish and great running, and yeah, man, just keep it up with the good work. Of course, you
Thank
know
you.
the deal. If you want to give any closing thoughts or shout outs.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to myself. I'm the new championship leader. So
Oh,
uh,
Ooh,
that's what happens when you retire early, Nick.
oh,
So,
oh,
um,
called out.
ding ding.
it's still waiting on that win. I got two more races in the regular season to put a win up and have it count for the chase later on. We got 2 weeks of breaks, so anybody who wants to come, you can got 2 weeks to paint a truck. And then done with this win, will lock himself into the chase too. So we're looking at probably about 10, 11 drivers for the chase, which will be a good strong field. Shout out to all the guys at NNSCRA that I race with. 2 or 3 days a week, depending on how many leagues we're running, and to all the guys that finished, as I said earlier. And then
Mm,
shout out to friends, family, girlfriend, all those people.
right on, man. And let me also just take this moment because it has to be said, you are not allowed to get any more points for the rest of the season with that point total of yours.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty nice.
Very nice indeed. To anyone who knows, you know, even just by what I'm saying.
Yep.
But great job, man. Good job, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for Indy.
Yep.
Well, on that note, though, yeah, I don't believe we'll be talking to Jack, but shout out to him though for a great run, and yeah, giving it everything that he had. Fantastic stuff. Got fastest lap, but uh, the guy who's the man of the hour, though, the man who knows how to put a rail into a racetrack, apparently, and did one of the most satisfying burnouts that I've ever seen. Donlon, friend, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you say domination, man? Holy cow! I was saying, I mean, while Jack Merkel had a lot of raw speed, the consistency that you had was, for a track like this especially, impeccable. Like it seriously blows me away what you were able to do so consistently. Please forgive the siren on outside here, but man, I just gotta ask you, how were you able to just keep that thing so dang consistent, despite the fact that that track had so many curveballs in it?
Well, the track, it was a mental challenge to stay pointed into the right direction with how difficult the track was, especially the first part of the track with the chicane and then going into that long hairpin. Um, that ended up putting me in a pretty I felt like that put me in a I just felt like that it was necessary to try to figure out the track first in practice. And then, it wasn't necessarily like when I was practicing, I noticed that quite a bit of times my left rear was locking up. And I think that was because of the brake bias. So that threw me off guard some at first. But once I adjusted to it, I didn't have that kind of problem. And yeah, it was going to be a very I feel like this kind of track provides a lot of mental toughness to try to, not overstep your boundaries. And yeah, I knew that Jack was going to be tough to beat, even if he qualified last, or if he started last. I don't think, if he had qualified right there with me, I mean, it's hard to say if he and I would have won. I think it would have been a toss up because he and I feel like we were pretty even for the most part. Um, I just felt like that I just had to be more consistent and not overstep my boundaries because the rear tires were definitely. I feel like that the rear tires were definitely a challenge to manage as well. So I just had to be very conscientious with what gears I'm using, when I brake and when I turn, and just trying to just stay pointed in the right direction and not trip over myself. So that was very tough to do for 1 hour, but got to the finish line first and won the race and beat Jack Mogo, who I feel like was definitely was going to be a tough competitor to beat, and he is, and he was definitely tough to beat today. Um, so yeah.
Hey, I couldn't have said couldn't have said any of that any better myself. Blake, you got anything for him?
No, I mean, I guess the only question that I have is that I theorized this in the middle of the race, but did you by chance kind of slow up your speed because you knew that this being a timed race and everything, you didn't have to push so hard, or did you just try and keep things consistent from really start of the green flag to the end, where pushing just about as hard as you could every single lap? Like with the lead that you had, you definitely could have eased up a little bit.
Yeah, and I felt like that I slowed down quite a bit, at least trying to be consistent, but also not going as fast as I did in practice. I think I managed to get like a sub 55 lap in qualifying, and I didn't match that in the race. So I knew that I don't think that was necessarily needed. But yeah, I felt like I did, try to slow down some and not, like I said, overstep my boundaries. I know there was the last two turns. I know that I was because, like I said, how the rear tires were definitely a killer. I didn't even bother to shift down to first or second. I just shifted down to first to conserve my rear tires because I noticed that the rear tires eat up pretty quick with this track being as abrasive as it is, and I didn't like I said, just shifting down to third in that part of the track, just let the rear tires do their thing and um not get on the gas sooner and just let them, like I said, do their own thing. I feel like that was the main thing, was just trying to save my rear tires because that was going to be, um, if the rear tires are gone, if you spin the rear tires too much, you're going to be wicked loose throughout the entire green flag run. So I knew I wasn't going to take that chance to do that, even with the lead I had, and so
Yeah, man. Well, it showed that you were just able to run so consistently, and um yeah, from my perspective, it just looked like you were on rails, and that was really really cool to see. So, great job, great win. Um, if you wish to give any closing thoughts or shout outs, my friend, you may have at it.
well, shout out to all of the drivers for racing tonight. Shout out to all the people watching at home, and shout out to you, and Blake for broadcasting and commentating this race as well. A shout out to Seth, Josh, and everybody, in the NNSCRA who made this league possible. Yeah, that's about it.
Right on, man. Great job. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks for Indianapolis.
I'll try to be there. Thank you.
Right on, man. Blake, I'll go ahead and ask you now. Closing thoughts on tonight's race.
Well, definitely, while from one perspective, domination can be a little bit boring, there's still something
User
very
was
much
moved
to
out of your
respect by
channel.
it.
User was moved out of your
This was
channel.
definitely an amazing, amazing race by both Jack Merkel and Dunlop. And even though that the passing was not at the highest level, trying to keep that consistent and not overstrain yourself, being able to keep it all together for a whole hour. Like I said earlier in the broadcast, the race doesn't end based off of lap distance. It ends based on time, and how much can happen in an hour is unknown to anyone going into the event in the first place. But a fantastic drive by Dunlop. What a showing tonight. Great run by Jack Merkel. Close but no cigar. And shout out to all the other drivers who obviously kept their resilience, thinking long term, this is for points. This is a potential position. I may not win tonight, but I am going to salvage and scrape everything that I've got. And there is something definitely respectable about that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was mental fortitude was on prowess here, and that's why we said who will have the perseverance and the stamina to get through this thing. And Dunlop had it the best, and Jack Merkel definitely bought it as well. And but Dunn just had the consistency factor, and it was great to see. And of course, as we said, yeah, congrats to him there. So to everyone watching, of course, we hope to see you on Sunday night for prime time. We're going to be having a good time with that one. And then 2 weeks' time for Indianapolis. Plus a couple other Sunday streams come the end of January, early February. The Pro Series will be back. We'll be broadcasting their final couple races of the season. So, for now, though, I need to go get a bite to eat and get ready for another day ahead. So, thank you, Blake. Absolutely awesome having you back in the booth, man. Hopefully, we get to do this again soon. And to everyone else watching, though, we hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay safe, everybody.